welcome to the podcast. Today we have Ambrose Wong with us here today. So Ambrose, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience and what you do and what do you do?
Cool. Thank you for having me. As he said, my name is Ambrose. I am a filmmaker that works in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Primarily, I work as an assistant director, and also as well as a special effects technician and a camera trainee or camera assistant in the last 2 years. As a assistant director, it's not what usually what people think they are. Not just giving out coffee and stuff like that. What we do is actually going into more detailed planning from pre-production to actually production shooting, as well as from day-to-day basis what needs to be done in order to make the movie happen or make the TV show happen. So I worked on gigs or worked on productions such as Total Recall, Pacific Rim, Shape of Water, and TV shows like Suits, Murdoch Mysteries, The Expanse, American Gods, and so on. So thanks for having me.
So, it's like assistant director. What are some of the things that you deal with? What are some of the problems that you solve on set?
There are so many aspects into just looking at problems because there's the social problems that you may have to deal with because you're not only working with crew, especially as assistant director. There's at least 100 to 300 people just for crew every day, from camera department, grip department, electrics. There's even craft just for food, right? Like there are so many different personalities in there, and you are as an assistant director, you are the communication bone for everyone.
So you're pretty much a switchboard for like the
right.
whole thing.
You are the veins, you are the blood vessel that carries out the signals to everything. Like you're the one who's giving out walkies. You're the one who's telling everyone like what the shot is and what they're doing. And the biggest problem as well is not everyone is well rested. That's a big thing. Like there are people who are grumpy. There are people who are lacking sleep because that's just comes in the territory of working that kind of hours. So you yourself have to mentally be tough in order to deal with that kind of emotions and deal with that kind of stress. And how are you yourself is dealing with internally for you, how to be balanced as well. So I feel like that's a big aspect in the industry, just socially speaking. In terms of what kind of other problems you may bump into, it's just day-to-day stress. Like every day you are going onto different locations, so you have to figure out what works best and what works the most smoothly for the production. And you may run into problems like sometimes maybe the transport department have the trucks come in late, so how are we adjusting our schedule towards that, right? Or actors decided to be late too. How are we adjusting towards that?
I'm pretty sure you've worked with a lot of divas in your time, right? Not even like divas, prima donnas, or like even male, female.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I've came into meeting some people who I used to be like, I was very interested in meeting, and once I met them, I'm just like, damn, like why are you like this?
Right. It's like who they are on camera and who they are in real life is like totally different.
Totally two different people.
Can you like no names? We don't have to list names, or you can give names if you want. But how about give me an example? Like, give me an example.
What I'm afraid of the most when I was just starting out, because as an assistant director, you also have to take care of cast or keep eyes on cast because you're the one who's inviting them on set.
Like, what do you mean by that?
So there are different levels to assistant directors. Sorry, I'm going to break it down a little bit just so you guys get a better idea. So first AD, in short, AD, he sits with the director and the producers, and basically he's the guy who's calling all the shots. Director are the people who creates a shot and tell us what they want, and we go and create it. So he is basically the voice on set. He is the person who gives the most direction.
So he's like the conductor of the orchestra.
Correct. He does all the safety meetings. He does every single shot, like breaking down what we want and what is needed for camera, grips, electrics. So he understands the production and from timing wise, and also like how things needs to be worked out.
Right.
The second is the one who builds the call sheets to do all the bookings for the next day. Right. He or she is prepping for tomorrow. The third, which is the current position that I'm usually in now, it's on the right hand, or right and left hand, however you want to put it. It's just I make things happen. So I work from telling the grips or telling the electrics personally, or even working with camera personally. Like this is a shot. Give me the frame, and I will dress it. I'll tell set dressers. I'll tell props like what's needed. And then as well as I work with backgrounds. So background performance, like I would dress them in. And obviously sometimes giving notification to the cast, like when are they going to be needed? What are they going to be doing in the shot? Because they in a single shot or a single scene, you can break down a few different shots, obviously. And not always they're going to start from top to bottom. So they have different pickup points. So we have the obligation to tell cast what exactly they are doing, what they need to be focusing on. And when you start out, generally speaking, you will work as either set PA or the trailer AD, and that's what I mean by you have to take care of cast. You bring them into set. You making sure they have everything they need to be prepared for what they need to do.
So basically, that you go to their trailer. It's not an actual physical trailer, but you go to their room or go to their spot and say, okay, you're on now, and this is what we're gonna do. Here's the clothes you're gonna wear. Here's like just prep them so that they're ready.
Correct.
For the.
And they do come in the morning in a trailer. That's why we have specific roles. Like we have a trailer AD, who are specifically just making sure they come in the earliest to come in to make sure their room is prepped. Costume is here for them. Makeup and hair is like all set up for, and have a chair prepared for them on standby. Because you may think it's a very easy process just by getting dressed, but dress, depending on the show you are, like let's say suits, it's a simple suit or a simple dress from Donna, like that can take 30 minutes, right? And hair and makeup, generally speaking, that's another 2-hour process. So they come in every single morning early just to make sure everything is prepped. So we hold that accountable in timing and when to send them to set if we're on location. So from base camp to location, that's another travel time.
So there's a lot of variables that you got to be working with.
Right. There's a lot of timing variables.
So for example, you mentioned punctuality or lack of rest. I mean, any interesting stories that you had, like situations which you had to deal with that the director you probably usually, I mean, by the time you get to the director, it's escalated to like it's a pretty big problem. So a lot of so I'm based on what you're telling me, I'm guessing a lot of the AD job, you have to put a lot of fires all over the place, right?
Sure.
Right. Putting out fires is pretty much your job, and making sure that things run smoothly, right? What are some of the craziest fires that you put out? I'm really curious.
Let's say Pacific Rim where I just started out. That's how pretty much I got in. We have every day around 300 to 400 background performers extra, and we have this set.
So these are guys that are like running around.
Exactly.
Things are falling.
Exactly.
Those guys.
And they have never done it before.
Okay.
They have never done it before because they were looking for people that are of Asian descent or ethnicity. And
so the when they were like things are falling apart in Hong Kong. Actually
exactly.
in Hong Kong. It's
right. Like those are set out. Like we built a whole street. We built a whole town, right?
Which part of Hong Kong is this?
Doesn't really matter, but like we basically looks like Kowloon.
Looks like Kowloon.
Looks like Kowloon. But we built that in the studio.
Okay.
And we have like everything from apartments to stores, and everything is functional, right? But like a lot of people that we were hiring off the street, because like we don't know that many background performers in the union that. So they have union too, but like we don't know that many Asian performers that are in the union itself. So they were just basically hiring people off the street.
And speak Cantonese.
That strictly speak Mandarin or Cantonese.
Okay.
And I think that was a biggest thing, like they were trying to look for people who can translate for them, because especially when working on a Guillermo film, like for Pacific Rim, like he is so specific with his shots, and even for background performers, he has a certain standard that he wants them to react to, which I totally respect that, and it's great. But if they don't understand you, they don't understand you.
But you're a Cantonese speaker on set then, right?
Yes, I did both. Obviously, Cantonese was my strong suit. So I became a translator for them from doing I was doing half backgrounding, so I can just mix into a group and help them usher them. And from that point on, as a translator, I got into becoming an ADing.
Okay.
But that was the biggest thing though, like, making sure like communication, because we have people running away from set.
What? What do you mean running away?
Like they thought there was an actual fire evacuation.
Wow.
Yeah, so like sometimes you just don't understand the logic of people, but like with sounds going on and different alarms going on, even for just when we're rolling, we have people just dispersing in different directions, and we have no clue where they're going, and it's like we lost some bodies here. It's like, what are we gonna do? We just lost around 150 people. They all went out.
They literally ran out of set.
Yeah,
they thought it was like a real fire.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Don't you have like a loudspeaker like, okay, we're gonna start now, ready,
we do have a voice of God,
Okay.
and that's when they figured out, okay, it's really important.
What, you guys call it the voice of God?
Yeah, so we have a mic and all those speakers just installed in the studio everywhere, and then the AD sometimes would just use it because the studio is so big.
But you got 500 people walking around, they're probably tuning you out, right?
Oh, and
that's when those people leave.
That's it, and that's when they figured out, like, okay, we really do need a translator, and I feel like charisma is part of the job as well. Like you need to capture people's attention in terms of how you talk to them, or when you're making an announcement, is it being translated through, not only in language, but what your emotion is, and how important this is, right? Like a lot of the time when we make an announcement as an AD, it's actually based off on not only what you're doing, but the safety aspect of it, right?
Because you can actually really have a stampede and people trample down.
Correct, and especially when you're on a stunt-heavy show, right? There are so many different elements. Like we have hydraulic pumps, we have propane cans, right?
Real like heavy car, like not like a real car, but like a car model literally like flying across the screen, right?
And generally we would use a real car.
A real car. Okay.
Yeah. So
there you go.
So all of those aspects, it needs to be heard, like sealed off set, and you're not just wandering.
Right.
And
so those scenes where the whole world's blowing up, and then there's cars. There are those scenes like in for example, was it the Sandra Bullock one, the bird one?
Yeah.
Like there's cars like flying all over the place, right? If an extra decides to run that direction, I mean, it's like
that's on you.
Yeah, that's on you. That's on you, the AD.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is on us. Like who let them go, right? Because we also have to lock up the set as well. Like when we're rolling, making sure people actually understand what the frame is, and what is going to be in shot and what's not. So if someone went through, you didn't do a good job locking up. You didn't do a good job telling the parameters, right? So like that's one of the difficulties that I found the most. Like people listening and understand the safety aspect of it. Safety is such a huge issue, especially in recent years. We have people unfortunately passing away from stunt accidents.
Like they really.
Yeah, like we have like, let's say Titans from a year ago. We have a special effects coordinator. Total freak accident, but a whole hydraulic pump just shot right in his face.
Oh.
Didn't even have a chance.
Wow.
Didn't even have a chance.
Just because it was loose or something.
Yeah.
Whatever. Right.
Yeah. So freak accidents do happen. Safety is a must, and we are tightening it up more and more so in these past years. Other things is maybe actors go missing sometimes.
Wait, like you're talking. You're not talking about extras. You're talking about like the main people, the actual actor. Okay, tell me about that.
Yeah, so why I brought this up is like that's actually one of the problems that I've encountered when I started the industry. I've had actors who are just a floater. They like to wander around on set, and when they wander off somewhere else.
Like
Let's
go
say,
to another set.
yeah, or when you're on location, they just totally gone, right? So let's say I was filming at UFT Scarborough one time,
Okay.
and it's a big campus. This actor decided to just go off and look around, flirt with girls a little bit, and it was just like a total culture shock to me. Which is like, this happens, really? And then the next minute when we find him, the next minute he'll try to run away again. Like he has no intention of being there whatsoever. So we have actors like that.
But isn't that their job? And like they're getting paid for this job, and they just decide to walk off and flirt with girls, and that happens.
Sometimes like I do work a lot with like a lot of professional people, and there are actors who sometimes would like to throw a fit and don't want to come to set, right? Simply because maybe they have an argument with a director, or they have an argument with another actor or actress because the script is not fitting for them, which personality plays into it. But yeah, that was the random case that like there are a few times I just catch them totally going off. Yeah, it's interesting.
But how do you diffuse these kind of situations? For example, if there's like a conflict between the director and the actor, and they don't see eye to eye. The director sometimes they're busy and they got like a million things going on, so obviously you got to be the person that's talking to them because you're in their trailer, right? Or you're the one who's casting them and bringing them on set and off set, right? I mean, how do you handle these kind of situations? Especially you're talking about like you mentioned earlier that sometimes you get this week you got what 2 hours of sleep? Yeah. You average 2 hours of sleep
a day. Yeah.
A day. Yeah. I mean, how do you handle that?
I think communication is key. It's not specifically you diffusing a problem with the actor, because sometimes it's just out of your reach. Like that's not your level to deal with. Like the director and the producer, and even maybe sometimes the first AD. That's their job. Even so, like the first AD's job is just to make sure that the director knows that okay, this is the delay. Make sure the producer knows this is the delay. What are you gonna do about it, or what can we do about it? All we can do is letting you know. We can set up as much as possible, and what are the other routes around it? Like maybe we can work other shot or shoot him out of it first. Like avoid it. But how much time would that set us back, right? So for us, it's more thinking about the time sensitive wise, and also what makes the most sense in terms of logically chronically shooting order, right? Because there's no point of shooting one way. And then because we have to avoid this actor, we have to go shoot all the other way stuff, and then come back to shoot this one way. Because in a shot, there's maybe like 3 or 4 actors. Do we have to just because of this one actor, we have to, abandon the whole plan? Why not we shoot all the same coverage first, and then shoot the other?
So if you're using that room, for example, on Suits, right? For example, if you're using a room and there's 3 scenes and 2 of those scenes you need Donna, but the 3rd scene you don't need Donna.
Yeah.
Then Donna will just sit on the side and wait for the 3rd scene to finish.
Correct.
Or whatever. Like plan it out so that it makes sense for everyone. All right, like everything's set up already. Let's just get the 3 shots of that room done.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's always harder to move gears and set camera and lighting. Especially lighting. Lighting takes actually the longest thing to do on set.
Yeah. Lighting's everything, right?
Yeah, lighting makes a show. So it definitely makes more sense to light the room and travel the cast, and we'll redress the cast and go back in no matter how long the process is, because it's always longer to do lighting. So definitely that. But in terms of how do you deal with people,
right? Especially people like everyone doesn't have sleep. Everyone's stressed.
Correct.
Everyone's trying to memorize. Like there's a million things going on at the same time. How do you deal with that?
There's nothing you can do with actors. Clearly to the point, all you can do is just be professional. As for the crew, you got to understand too, like they have families that they're not seeing, and sometimes it is stressful. I think be nice is definitely, you know, the way to go.
Kindness, compassion.
Kindness, like, yeah. And generally speaking, if you're not a daily worker or on call type of thing, and you're an actual person who works on the show for full time, this is your family for the next 2-3 months, or maybe even half a year, depending on the show. Like Suits runs 8 months.
Right.
8 months.
Yeah, you worked on Suits for like 8 months.
I worked in season 8, and that was an 8-month show. Yeah, like that is your family. That's the people that you're gonna see at least 5 to 6 days a week, depending on how much you're shooting that week.
Right.
So you're gonna have some off days. They're gonna have some off days. Everyone will have to understand that. But I feel like don't call them out on it, but just try to understand that. And also like, okay, when people give you the attitude, take it in, process it, take the message as what it is first. Like, is he giving you the answer that you need? Like, if he say he needs more time, back off. Just take that. He needs more time. Don't need to back off. Just take that. All right, I got my answer I need. Let it be. I feel like that is the most important thing. Like, you have to have a strong EQ and IQ in order to be a good AD.
Right. So it's a lot of these people skills, right? Just reading between the lines.
Correct.
Controlling your own emotions, because you know sometimes they might snap at you and you can't take it personally.
Yeah.
Showing more compassion to what they're doing. Some of them may be away from their families, right? Like you said. Yeah, I mean that, but even for yourself, right? Like there's the whole work-life balance as well for you. I mean, it's got crazy hours. I see your Instagram posts sometimes, and you're like, you're awake in like some ungodly hours. It's like, dude, man, what are you doing up? Wait, you just play basketball? Then like we literally just play basketball, and you should be exhausted and but you're up again after 2 hours, and you're at it again, right? I mean, how do you prepare yourself for this kind of grind?
I myself personally may have a little bit of an abnormal energy tank.
Okay.
I've been told I'm kind of crazy, but
okay.
Let's leave it at that. But personally speaking of how I prep myself is, you need to find a way to de-stress. Like, luckily for me, I love the game of basketball, and to me it's enjoyment. It's not like I'm putting a lot of energy or excess energy that I don't need into it, and it doesn't take away from me in terms of how I work. It is a physical labor when I work, but I feel like the adrenaline gets to you, like when you have to keep on thinking, and then you just have no time to stop, and you keep going. When you get to that certain position where you have to give directions, then that adrenaline kicks in, and you just don't have no time to be tired.
Right. You're in the moment, right?
Yeah, you have no time to be tired, and finding balance is all about, are you enjoying it? And swear to God, I'm not gonna lie. Like, you know, there are definitely days or definitely like months where I just feel like I've hit a wall, because that's just not a position for me anymore, right? That's when you know you have to upgrade. You have to keep moving up, or you have to move on.
What do you mean by that? You gotta upgrade.
Like I said, there are different positions in the AD world, like from the set PAing to like third AD, to the trailer AD, to seconding, to first, or even me going to the other unions, such as, you know, being a special effects technician or camera assistant. Like, what is it that, you know, keeps you moving? As soon as you feel like you're being stagnant or not motivated to come into work, it doesn't get better. It does not get better. Like Suits was actually one of those shows for me. I keep dropping Suits because that was such a long show.
Well, it's a long grind. Yeah.
It was a long grind. Like it was one of those shows where everyone, all the workers there, 90% of them has been there since season 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huge family then, right?
It's a huge family, and same thing for Murdoch. Like a lot of people been there since season like 1 or 2, and they just keep coming back every year. So like you see a lot of people who are very complacent, and I'm just not that type of person. Like I need that, you know, I need to feel like there's growth. I need to feel like there's a destination, and something I can get into. And Suits was one of those like, okay, I'm coming in every day, and it's the blocking. That's how we break down the scene. Is 2 casts like what we are doing right now. 1 cast come in, sits down, makes it talk, dialogues, walks out, and majority of our scenes are like that.
Well, yeah, that's
Suits.
That's Suits, right?
That is Suits. That is Suits.
It's
And
just 2 people
and
expressing their creative whatever.
right, and it's an office environment, and even then, when I'm building the background, it's just like,
There is no
what
background
do
in
you
that
want?
house.
What do you want me to do? It's like, yeah, they have glass walls, but like, so I'm just putting a few going back and forth. You wanna give background some sort of storyline as well. Like, yeah, they're walking, but if you don't give them motivation to walk, there is a difference between walking like zombies, and there's a difference between you know, walking in an office or having a purpose in their profession. I mean, that's how you want to give them motivation in terms of thinking that they're gonna one day make it as an actor. A lot of background actors do want to, you know, achieve or go into auditions.
They want to move on.
They want to move
their
them,
career.
advance into like, you know, acting, right? And background actors are part of it. You know, background acting is part of it, and you want to give them, you know, some sort of storyline or motivation to do so in on set. So if they hit the wall and you hit the wall,
The energy totally
it
converts.
just
like,
it drains. It
right.
drains, and you can tell, right? Like,
Yeah, I totally noticed. Like even when I watched Suits, and first 4 seasons were like yeah. I was like, oh, it's like 5th season is like I'm starting to feel like it's different.
yeah,
Like it just you
get a
just
different
feel
vibe.
it just feels different. My
Yeah.
wife and I, we were watching it. It's like yeah, I mean you don't get that upbeat energy anymore. It's very different.
yeah. You get different vibe, and that's how it is on set too.
Right.
That's exactly how it is on set. Like I like how you brought that up. As if you can't adjust your own emotions, especially when you're the communication point for every other department,
Right. As an AD.
as
right.
an AD, and then you just bringing down the vibe for everybody else. It's like, why is this guy acting like a douchebag, right? Or this guy's actually very happy, and he's happy to come into work. He brings momentum.
Right.
You know,
I was thinking he brings donuts or coffee or whatever.
we have craft service for that. I don't need to
Okay.
bring food,
Okay. But like you gotta bring the energy, you gotta bring the positivity, you gotta bring the optimism.
Yeah, it matters.
And it matters. It's contagious.
it matters. It is contagious, and you know, like it makes people feel better where they are at. Yeah. So ride off the energy is another thing. I feel like that's a big thing in our industry.
So for you, one of the success factors for you is like just having that. Like you said earlier, people say like, oh, you have such an inordinate amount of energy. It's like it's not normal. Like
Yeah.
But that's what you bring on set.
I do. Especially like, you know, I bring it back, like kindness too. It plays a big part. Like you need to show them that you are willingly communicating with them, and along with that energy, and that's just how you create the atmosphere. No matter who it is, like from actors, director, camera, and background actors. Like we have days we have just like 5 background actors to 300 background actors. Treat them exactly the same. And they are not someone for you to just order around, even though they have no say into production whatsoever.
They're basic. I mean, in a sense, they're basically. I don't want to say props, but
in a sense,
in a sense they are.
In
right?
a sense, they are.
They populate the screen. That's what they. That's
Right.
what they do, right?
Right. But then you don't want to make them feel like that, right?
Yeah,
because
of course.
technically you are like they are your coworkers, and
Right.
especially like, again, Suits or Murdoch, those cops or those lawyers in the office, they've been there maybe longer than you have been on the show.
Right, right.
Some of them been from season 1 to season 9.
Well, like the guy like crunching the phone all the time. That's their job.
That's their job, right? And or the secretary, like it's always that person, right? They have a designated spot. That's their spot in the office. So make them feel welcome. Make them feel like, welcome to be back, or like, they have still a purpose at this job. That is their job, right? So they are your coworkers, and I feel like don't look down on anyone. That's another successful actor. Like, the world is so small. The union is so small. The film world is even smaller, right? Every show you go on, I kid you not, you will at least bump into a handful, like 10 to 20 people that you will know, you have already met. Unless it's your first day on the show, obviously.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
But if you've been around for like a year or two, you go
like, even if you don't know their name, you would recognize them, right?
Yeah.
And luckily for me, like I'm at that point where people, I go onto every show and people will recognize who I am and know me by name basis, and know what I'm capable of. But
know
like,
your role, like know what's yours. What do you bring on set?
right. So that itself, it's a motivation for me. Just like, okay, how far I can take this, people are rooting, or people are happy to see me. That's always a good sign, and that feeds off the energy to me, right? That starts the right day for me. It's like people telling you good morning, how are you doing today? You just give me a great big hug, like simple acts like that. It starts the day right, right?
How did you get into this acting world? Because a lot of people when they, in your case, I remember we had this conversation in the past. It's like you kind of almost stumbled onto it.
I did.
Yeah.
It was.
How did you stumble onto becoming the assistant director of Guillermo del Toro?
Yeah.
That's of course it's a lot of little steps in between, but how did you stumble onto this?
It was actually a very weird transition. Like, I've done a lot of work in school in terms of I was very focused, but I was not being a totally goody two shoe. But like I talked to the profs, and I really want to figure out what I wanted to head into as a career, because taking digital media arts while I was majoring in, I don't know what my direction is, because we were learning Dreamweaver, like website building, graphic designing, music building, and stuff like that.
It's so open ended. It could be anything.
It's so open ended, and I was doing pretty well in school, and I was like, I don't know where I'm heading into though, because things seem to kind of come, and my prof was generous enough to say, hey, I know a film friend. They are currently filming Total Recall at the current moment, and they kind of maybe want some background actors.
This is the Colin Farrell one, right?
Colin Farrell one, yeah. That was also
obviously.
Yeah. I don't think I was around that time.
Schwarzenegger's.
Yeah, like fortunately for me, like he kind of just threw me in there, try out background, see how you like it on set, learn, because there are so many departments that you just like, as a background, you have so much time, observe, see what you like. And from then on, I also noticed my friend who also does backgrounding, and she started bringing me out to gigs. Like there was a dance show called Kobu, and I was really excited to go on because there was this Korean star that was supposedly starring in it, Boa.
Oh, Boa, yeah.
Yeah.
Was she there?
She was starting the show.
Okay.
So and also like Shinhwa, or was it DBSK, like that main singer guy was also there too. I was like, oh, I know their music. I can go check it out. I don't mind go checking it out.
Right.
So I did a few background gigs. Meanwhile, I was in school and really just trying to learn the positions there. And then
when you say background, you're like the background set? Or
I was doing a little bit of extra work, like
Okay.
background extra.
Okay.
But Total Recall, I kind of like met a few ADs there already. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, this is what you do. I kind of understand. So reaching out was a big part of it.
So
Just kind of
networking, taking the initiative to talk to
yeah,
them.
kind of just understanding the job, like
So did you just like ring up like, hey, can we grab a coffee so learn more about?
No, I don't particularly do that because I do know that they work long. Like even at that point in time, like
times.
I know they work in long hours. If they have time, probably won't be for me, you know. So it's just when they have a downtime or they coming in, you know, just trying to get all the backgrounds going. And there was like maybe 2 or 3 minute window of talk. That's when I, you know, just kind of poke your head in and say, oh, so do you usually do this? You know, just, you know, what is your job like? You know, how long is it for? Kind of get a feel for it. And then the big thing for me, or the moment came for me, was Pacific Rim. Like, you know, like I said, I understood what was going on, but
Right.
clearly 150 people didn't know what was going on.
Right off set, right?
So it's like they finally noticed, like, you know, okay, we need a translator. And I'm like, right here, I can do both. I can do both.
Mandarin,
And-
Cantonese.
yeah, and that kind of was my shoe in. You know, like they put me in a position where I was able to make directions in Chinese, and they noticed I can actually work a crowd pretty well. And one specific AD kind of took a liking to me, and from that show on, he actually put me as a translator and AD. So I got paid as an AD from the union.
Right.
And then that sets my foot into join the union full-fledged AD after the show. And then on, just never looked back in
Right.
terms of this is the career.
Was this before you did the Robocop scene or after you did it? I have to bring up the Robocop scene, man.
Oh, so for audience here don't know what he's talking about. So RoboCop was my first full-time AD gig, and Jose, our lovely director of RoboCop, he decided in this technician scene or lab scene that where, you know, RoboCop was first discovering his body as a RoboCop. You know, need some more action in it. You know, he wakes up, bursts out of the room, and just asking where is he. He's weirded out, and, you know, decided, you know, they were in China. He should pick up an Asian guy
Throw him.
and throw him away. And, you know, the director was asking, is there any Asian backgrounds in our holding at the current moment? Knows Chinese well or can speak Chinese very well. And director was like, no, just let Ambrose do it. And, you know, that day I got thrown, you know, maybe 20 to 25 times.
Really?
Yeah.
That's 20, 25 scenes?
Yeah, no, 20,
Takes.
25 takes, different angles, you know.
Yeah.
But it was an experience. I got the actor upgrade and also got the stunt upgrade, which is like that paycheck was nice.
Yeah.
And it came out in a movie. Obviously, it wasn't the extended version of it, because we took different coverages, but it turned out to be just a simple like, where are you? and then thrown. But hey, at least I can say I made him on.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. When I was, I knew you even before watching that movie, but like when that scene happened, is
that you?
No, I didn't even notice it was you. I didn't even know it was. Like, I was like, oh, okay, Asian guy got thrown, right? But then I was like, wait a second. I come back, talk to you. I was like, wait a second, that was you, right? Like I knew you like before that already.
Yeah.
It's wow. I mean, it was pretty funny.
It was an experience, but it definitely was surprised. But that's the thing, like I feel like I need to feed that back. It's like your energy. Your energy. Why did the director even want to give it to me, right? Like, was it because I'm just the first Asian guy he sees, or was it because I'm already like pretty okay on set,
Right.
And people kind of know me by names, like, camera and stunts. They were like, Ambrose can probably do it,
Right.
just let him do it.
So it's all these, like, it's really all about the people skills, the soft skills, the EQ, IQ.
Yeah.
A lot of EQ to just be around people and just be able to, like, make very stressful situation better,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right. So, what are your future plans in this industry? I mean, what's coming up for you?
The end goal for me is directing. I am trying to branch out more and more. Why? See, like, you heard me as an AD a lot, but why did I start doing special effects? Or why did I started doing camera? It's because I want to keep learning. I want to stay motivated. And I'm not going to throw names out there, but like, I've seen so many directors that I worked with before. Some really great, some really good, and some you just don't know what they're doing there.
Right.
Like, why are you in this business, or why are you here in general? Like, you have no business directing a show this big for you. And I'm not trying to knock on anyone, but you can definitely tell if a crew respects or an actor respects a director. Whether or not if they know the shots or know the gear or know what they're talking about, or just have the simple idea of what to shoot. Why are days so long, right? Because there are so many coverages. But do you really need to take all different angles, all different sizes in coverages, right? If you know what you're cutting, like in your head, if you imagine like what you're cutting in an editing room, Guillermo is one of them. Guillermo shows are long by no means is it short. I had 22-hour days on Guillermo shows.
Well, yeah, the fact that every time there's a shot, that you gotta like spray water on the floor.
Exactly. I think I told you that.
Yeah, you told me that. It's like every time there's like water on the floor because that's kind of his signature look, right?
Yeah, like the very shiny gleam on the floor. Yeah, that's his signature look. Like, that takes time, but it's also because he's so specific in every single thing. Like, he looks at the background, he looks at the continuity, he looks at the actors and the performance of it. Like, so specific. So that's the type of director I really respect, right? Like, he looks he is actually the guy who's helming the ship, right? Not the first AD, right? Though the first AD is doing his job, but I'm just saying, like, he is the guy who's actually like, he's the head of the ship, he's the captain.
And it's like in a very real sense, and I'm just guessing is, if it's poorly planned, you're wasting everyone's time, and everyone knows it, and everyone's just like, why are we dragging this up? This is so stupid. Like, I could be home having dinner with my family, but here I am putting extra hours, and the director's wasting budget, wasting film, but I mean, nowadays you don't waste film; it's digital, right?
Yeah.
But like, wasting everyone's time.
Yeah, it is. And I've been on shows.
And the morale just
it goes way off. But I've been on shows where, like, why are we doing tech scout when everybody's on standby, already on the clock, right? Like. And we've been on this location 5 times already. So why are we doing tech scout in the morning when everyone's on the clock?
Tech scout is like figuring out the tech around the area.
Tech scout is basically like surveying the area, and where to shoot things.
Wow, wow! Fifth time.
So this was up in Uxbridge. There was this cabin in the woods. And
not the movie Cabin in the Woods. An actual cabin.
Yeah,
in the
woods. The movie was for Polar. I'm just gonna throw it out there, and I'm not even ashamed to put it out there. It's just it's no secret how bad that show was, or that movie was. I love Mads Mikkelsen, but like he's a great guy. I feel so sorry for him, but that director was just no good. Right? The tone of the show, the story of the show, he just keep on rewriting. There was no actual planning. Right, and up in Uxbridge, just like we've been there 5 times in 4 different weeks, and you still have to do tech scout.
You should have just done one trip, right? It could have been done in one trip, but you did 5 trips, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like, sometimes you can't blame everything on the director, but like, because like, natural causes, like, it was snowing, we need fake snow. Sometimes it turns slush, so we need to dress fake snow. So those days turns to long days. Fine.
Right.
But you should know the area already.
Right. It's got to be justified.
Yeah, like that should have been done pre-production. So there's that. So like, you see the difference between a good director and
a James Cameron or a Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah. So that's what I like. Obviously, in size, I don't think I can be comparing to them, or I should strive for it. But
aspiration is fine.
Yeah, like, but for me, in outlook wise, like, that's the type of director I admire and I want to become. Right? And compared to that kind of directors is like, what are you doing? You know, I feel like respect is a really big word for me, or I want to earn the respect. And therefore, I'm jumping into different departments to just, you know, just to keep myself going, motivated.
Just trying everything out, learning, just pretty much learning as much as you can.
Learning attack, right? Exactly. Like for me, am I very camera sensitive in terms of knowledge? Honestly speaking, I'm not. I have mental images in my mind, and I know what I want, and I know how to tell a story. But the problem is, I don't want to be one of those who just like, you know, I want this, you can go and do it. Like I have the cinematographer, like you put the shot for me. I just want to talk to the actors. This is what I want, you know, or having everybody's idea, like the first AD or the cinematographer, or even for some reason, like, you know, a nobody just asking, what do you think of this shot, right? Just like, but that's your job. That's your job, right? How am I working in a show where the director doesn't even know what they're doing, right? So I definitely like want to be earning the respect of others, and if you can't do it, I'll come down and do it, right? So like, I don't want to rely on everyone. Obviously, is a industry where reliance is a really big thing.
Right.
As a team, it's a teamwork, it's a family.
Yeah.
Right. There are shows I worked on, like, you know, like it's a huge family atmosphere, and it's great. Right. Everybody's motivated to work.
It's like Suits, but you told me that everyone was crying, like it was like hugs and like they've been doing it for many years.
Yeah. Like cast breakdown, like they sometimes still go on phone basis, you know, like just catching it up. You know, that's a family, and there are directors on there like that earn those people's respect, right? I don't want to be one of those where just like, I know exactly what I want. This is what I want, and this is how you should do it. And if you can't do it, I can show you how, right? And it's no knock on anyone, but just like, at least you know your stuff.
Right. It's like you paid your dues, you touched everything, you've tasted everything.
Yeah.
So that when it's preparing you for the next step, when you need to step up, because all this knowledge will be useful in the future.
Correct. And it goes such a long way too. It's just like in the pre-production, like, you know, you figure out what cameras do you need, like what kind of lenses do you need. You also figure out like in the editing room, before you even shoot it, when you're pre-planning it, and while you're shooting it, it's like in your head, I clearly just need a coverage of a single on you and a single on me, and maybe one master shot. But do I need all different sizes? No, I don't. Then just leave it at that, right? You know your sizes. You know the cut in the cutting room what you want. It saves everybody time. It saves everybody effort, and even budget. You know, like, again, like it brings into rental lenses and stuff like that. Like all those stuffs are rental, right? And the work, the amount of work and lighting people put in, like everything comes with a cost. So the more you know about what you really need and what you really want, instead of just having it on standby, it makes the production so much easier, and that itself gives you more budget to do things that, you know, you need to focus on. Like if it's a stunt scene, or like, you know, you need to buy out a location even longer, right? All of those things comes together, right? So like the more confident you are as a director, I feel like knowing exactly what you want, it gives the producer or the fundings a lot more power in terms of what you can do with it.
Yeah, instead of like burning cash on like rentals, you're actually using the cash on post-production to make it really nice, you know, something very simple. Correct. That's why you have like out of control budgets, and you see some flicks that are like, you know, they're trash. Like some movies out there are pretty trash, and their budgets are like way up there. It's probably trash because the planning wasn't very
correct.
Good, yeah.
Right, like and we have working professionals from different unions, like I said, you know, the camera union 667 or 873, like, you know, actual well done job of like, you know, aesthetics or you know, prosthetics, set deck, grips and lighting and stuff like that. Like, people are so good at that job, and, you know, people can look at it as just a job, but those talents are wasted, and it really should be put on display. You know, like, why is it some people that can getting the same jobs, or same producer or same director jobs? Because they've already, you know, earned that trust from the director, right? So, or those people who are really good at their jobs keep trying applying back to shows from Guillermo or like from like James Cameron of the world, right? Like they keep applying it and then they keep getting those jobs because they have a mutual trust already.
Right, right.
But there are a lot more people in the back haven't shown their light yet, right? Haven't got shined upon, right? And they all just waiting for that chance. And I don't want to, burn people's chances. Right.
Right.
I want to work with people who are like talented. I want to be one of those talented individuals that create something beautiful for the audience and also to just display what's everyone's talent.
Right.
Everyone definitely has talent if you're in the industry, right? There is definitely like not gonna be like, oh, you're just got lucky. You just got, the industry has a way to filter out those people.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. But you still have those directors that rise to the top.
Well,
but then they get washed out pretty quickly.
They do get washed out, and I can't say very quickly, but at the end is they maybe they have the means, or they have the connection to, and how maybe they are good at socially, like that. That
maybe they're good at pitching their idea.
Right. That is an aspect I had to say, but as a working professional, just like actually building the shots, or like as an AD
on the ground, hands on.
On the ground, hands on. Yeah, correct. What you bring to the table matters. That's another difficulty that you will find on set. It's just like, are you guaranteed a job? So despite me being in the union, you're not guaranteed a job. It's almost like freelancing as well, right? Because no show runs forever, right? There's always an end to a show, and you have to go on to the next one.
So it's like project based, pretty much. It's
correct.
Project based.
And I've stopped applying for shows nowadays. Like, I'm at a point where, I'm lucky enough where people start looking for me.
It's taken you how many years to get to this point?
I've stopped applying since probably year 3. And I've been lucky enough to just, keep getting calls from close friends, from work, obviously, or people, or just bosses or supervisors who just kind of trust me in that position. But yeah, like, I feel like your mentality and what you put into work will show. I've definitely seen a lot of people come and go. Summer months are definitely going to be like a lot more easier to get jobs because there's so much shows that happens in Toronto, and it just keeps on getting busier and busier. But times like this right now, we're filming this in December, right, guys? So it's like times like this right now is where it gets tough, right? Like everybody's fighting for a job, and I'm just luckily enough where, like you said, I'm still working with people on a show where just like I get 2 hours of sleep. They work mad hours, but I'm happy to be getting this, and you don't see me complaining about it. And because I understand how tough it's gonna be, and it just everybody's fighting for it.
It's very. Would you say it's very cliquey? The whole industry is like people have their own circles. Like you're kind of in the periphery of the Guillermo circle, and then there's some other circles that are like I'm sure like big directors will keep going back to the same team, right? They'll keep bringing back the same team that's brought them success, right? I mean, it's very
correct. So like it's to Shape of Water, even Pacific Rim. Technically, these are the same teams.
Oh, are they?
The lighting team is the same. Grip team is the same. If you look at the gaffer, the best boys. Maybe the best boy is different, but like even
what's a best boy?
So the best boy is basically like for both grip and department, they both each have a best boy. They keep track of all the gears.
Oh, okay. So the equipment guy.
Yeah, so they're the second in command in their department.
Okay.
But even like the camera guys, like even the camera operators, they tend to be the same team. Like Shazam and It. They're the identical team.
Wow. They're like totally different movies, though.
Totally different movie, but they're the identical team.
Director is the same?
No.
Different director, right?
Different director, but
the team is like the director finds that team, and then the team gets okay. Let's put the same team together.
So, It too, and it's the same director, but Guillermo is a close friend of the director and also a part producer for it. So he recommended the team to the director, and that whole team got bought back.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how the networks work, right?
Right.
Pretty much.
And which you were totally correct. So like, you know, people will have their niche or like have the little groupies that runs deep. I'm more well-rounded. I'm working with different teams a lot. So American God is one of the teams I work with, and right now what we do in the shadows totally different, two different shows. Like, but these people who I came to know and came to trust, you know, they bring me out a lot, you know, because they just know what I can bring.
So you're kind of like the glue guy that does a little bit of like you have your specialty, but at the same time you've branched out enough so that you've touched a whole bunch of stuff, so that you know it's like that's a specialty, but you're also a utility guy that can help out in pretty much everything else.
Correct.
Kind of thing, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
So I can see that where that will slowly develop into being a director because you've touched everything.
That is my game plan.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll pan out that way.
Okay.
But I feel like it's very easy to lose track. So I always have to like, you know, find a time to just step back and, you know, reevaluate myself. Where am I at and where am I going with it, right? And there are going to be tough times. You know, like I said, winter times may be tougher, and also like jobs that you're doing when you feel like, you know, you're not moving up, but why
you feel stagnant.
Yeah, why are you doing this? You know, you have to keep reminding yourself.
So you got to be very motivated and driven as an individual.
As an individual, yeah.
Right.
Like you have to have a game plan, or you have to keep pushing yourself.
Right.
That is a basic thing. Like, again, film is not for everyone. Clearly, like from hours or the amount of people that you deal with, and the stress you get put onto yourself every day, like mentally and physically, like it really is not for everyone. And are you prepared to not have any social connection for months, right? Like
I've been with your team, of course.
Yeah, like you know this personally.
Yeah,
like,
you disappear.
I disappear 3-4 months at a time because I just and I love basketball. Like if I have time, I will try. I will zip through the highway just to get there. But like
we know you zip through the highway, man.
Don't do that, kids.
There's no way you can go from Mississauga to like Richmond Hill in like in the amount of time that you do.
But right. I love the game. Like I said, it's one thing, but it definitely is like how are you trying to balance your life, and if you have something that you enjoy, then you're just gonna hold it. But
and what's the sacrifice?
Yeah, but you also need to be prepared for the sacrifice. You know, like are you ready to, you know, not meet up with friends or like your weekend is just gonna be you in your bed. You know, some people need that kind of rest. Me with the abnormal energy, I can technically still hold on. Probably you're gonna bite me in the butt in the future, but but yeah, like, you know, motivation is a big thing, and sacrifices is another big thing. And what are you willing to do in terms of to make sure your dream happens? At the end of the day, health is important. It is a paycheck after all. I understand that. But for me, I have a bigger goal.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to be respectful of your time. Where can people learn more about you and what you do, or follow you on wherever?
If you want to see what I've done before, you can simply search up DGC, stand for Director Guild of Canada, and just type in Ambrose Wong, and you see those different type of projects I've worked on, such as, like, you know, like I said, you know, Pacific Rim, Robocop, and stuff like that. If you want to follow me personally, just simply give me an ad on Facebook or look up on Instagram. That's cool.
Instagram handle?
Yeah, Ambrose Vision.
Okay.
Or Ambient Vision. I got 2 accounts, depending on business and personal. And, you know, if you're interested in the film industry, feel free to shout out or just, you know, do your little research. There are different unions. DGC, Directors Guild of Canada. That's mainly for AD and directors and locations. IATSE 667 is camera only. IATSE, that's spelled IATSE. 873, that's the more wider range. You have craft service, you have grips, electrics, makeup, hair, costumes. That's all under one branch, and those are unionized. You know, and honestly, if you're a filmmaker yourself, or you are you are, you know, interested in just getting into film, you don't have to go to a union route. You know, there's the non-union route, the commercial world, there's a music video world, and there are people who are, you know, making lucrative money in that world as well. I just like to be in a union role because it's kind of like, it's in a sense it's less stress, and I already kind of know people from there. There are certain risks in the non-union world as well, and you know, because not everything is guaranteed. Your safety sometimes is not guaranteed, right? And you being working in such long hours already, your safety needs to be guaranteed.
Right.
And you have families to return to, and you owe them your safety. And so yeah, be there, out there, work safe.
All right. Thanks a lot for your time. Really
Thank you for
appreciate
having
it.
me. Thank you so much.